K9000's Game Room.
The game I'm about to talk about never had a release over here in Europe. In fact, for a very long time I thought it was a Japanese only game. But no, it was translated into English for the American market, receiving several changes and cuts. If I was to say Tanuki and leave it at that, you would assume that I was talking about some kind of Mario game. But let's face it, any game which had Mario in it and hadn't made it to the UK or the rest of Europe, well, everyone would already know about that, wouldn't they? If I was to add that Tanukis were said to have very large testicles, and that this little fact had been kept out of the Mario series, this might give a few people a chuckle. The game I'm talking about today, though, to my knowledge, is the only Super Nintendo game to ever feature the Tanuki's engorged testicles in all of their glory. Except for in the USA, where they were edited out. The game I'm talking about is Goso Jinrai Dentsuwa Musha, or Musha for short. To start with, I'll give you a rough translation of the title, and this is Brave Spearman Jinrai's Legendary Warrior. It came out in 1992 and can probably best be described as an action platformer. It was developed by Jorudan and published by Datum. Jorudan is a Japanese video game publisher and developer headquartered in Shinjuku, Tokyo. It's been publishing and developing video games since 1991, and they still exist today according to records, but the last game they released was Sukuban Suchu Renna, a cat-themed minigame collection on the Wii. They mostly seem to have done strange games that didn't reach these shores very often, but they also appeared to work on the odd port here and there. Datum was publishing stuff up to and including the PS2 days, but nothing anyone over here would know or care much about. Okay, so in this game you play as a pikeman who is the only survivor of a fierce battle. He collapses near a village where he is informed by the villagers that their shrine maiden has been kidnapped by demons, and basically this has left a door to hell wedged open. Without retrieving the maiden, the door to the abyss cannot be shut, so your job is to rescue her in order to close the gates to hell. You don't see many video game heroes who wield a spear, so in this regard Musha is kind of unique. The spear has excellent range to begin with and can be enhanced further with collectible items. As well as being used to attack normally, the spear can be twirled around to attack, although you'll remain stationary during this animation, so it is a little limited. You can also jump like you have superhuman powers, and you are able to use magic. Magic comes in the form of 5 spells, with a new one granted upon defeating each boss. The game will remind you of Castlevania if you play it, and that's a good and a bad thing, as I don't mean Super Castlevania 4, I mean the original Castlevania. This is not just because of some of the rigid animations used, it's also because for this kind of game you have a kind of limited toolset. You can't even hit enemies that are directly above you, despite having a huge stick in your hands. Flying enemies are very common, so having to leap to confront them is inconvenient, when in reality you just strike diagonally. There are a lot of bottomless pits, and jumping off screen can lead to an unfortunate demise, since you can't see the ground again until it's sailing past you on your way to death. This game is very unbalanced. It basically lacks the amount of polish something like Castlevania 4 received. The spear lacks stopping power, so even after an enemy has been hit, they still continue to move towards you. Add to this the fact that enemies will respawn immediately after death, making killing them almost pointless. Standard enemies go down in a few hits, but boss battles tend to drag on forever. Seriously, you'll be praying for them to just flipping die before your fingers drop off. If you ever get a chance to play this game, then just last it out till you see the first boss, who is a demonised, anatomically correct Tanuki, at least in the Japanese version. Once you've laughed at this, then turn off the game and play something better. The graphics are average, the sound is average, the game is just really average. I suppose in some ways it's a good thing that this game never made it to our shores. It is only something worth owning, so you can go, oh, I have a really strange game with a Tanuki with balls in it. If you need this game, it can be got for about £8 on cart for the Japanese version last time I looked. But the US version is a lot more, and as it doesn't feature the Tanuki balls, nowhere near as good. I would give this game 4 out of 10. It falls in the category of must try harder. Okay, that's K9000 signing out saying keep on gaming.